Servicing the differentials on a 2016 Honda Rancher. Things you're going to need: 10mm socket, 12mm socket, 17mm socket, paper towels, owner's manual's nice, approved gear oil, and a drain pan. And I literally use an old house pan because that's perfect size. Just like that. Okay, as usual, usually one of the first things I like to do is spray off the area. This is your fill cap. There's some other plugs on the other side. Just take a little bit of brake cleaner and just clean off any dirt. You always want to make sure that your fill cap will come loose before you drain anything, because if it won't, you're screwed. So just crack that loose. Oh, it's loose. I'm not going to take it all the way off yet. Another thing I like to do, it's not necessary for this, is remove the skid plate. This is just makes it easier to service the rear diff, but mostly it's just to clean out the crap that usually never gets cleaned out of there from anytime you wash it. There's still always going to be junk underneath there. So 12mm bolts. Pop those off. One in the back, another one here in the back on this side, and I think, here we go, one on the side here in the front. That looks like it. I drove the machine around a little bit to get the oil nice and warm so it'll flow, but this exhaust is pretty hot, so just be careful. Yeah, you can see there's some crap in there. You don't usually get to clean out when you're washing, so we'll clean that out. Okay, the skid plate's off. And now underneath here, right in between this, right here, come on. Yeah, it won't focus, but anyway. Right here is a 10mm drain bolt. We'll just crack that loose. I just cracked mine earlier. Geez, this is a train wreck. Okay, there we go. And then take it out by hand. I got my catch pan. And let that crap drain out of there. As soon as that stops dripping, I like to pull the fill cap out. Set that aside. They want you to replace this O-ring, but I usually don't. I just make sure it's in good condition and then I reuse it. I like to just pump a couple pumps of new oil through with the drain plug out. And that'll kind of flush out any of the crap that's in there. Just a few pumps. And then we'll let that drain out. As soon as the new stuff that you just flushed through is done dripping, install a new crush washer on your drain bolt and put that back in. Thread it in by hand. It's kind of tough to get it started, but you don't want to cross thread it. There it goes. And then you can tighten that to 9 foot-pounds, or as I do, put it on there and snug. And that's my 9 foot-pounds. Good enough for me. Okay, now we have this oil level check bolt. On this side it actually has a 3 stamped on. Remove that. And then the book says, with that removed, start filling the rear differential until it starts pouring out of there, or weeping out of there. It doesn't take much. And then after it starts pouring out, let it settle for a few minutes. And there it goes. See it weeping out of there? Wait 5 minutes. I mean, you can overfill it, leave that out, and then just pump a couple extra pumps in there just to flush out any other stuff. And then wait 5 minutes before putting the plug back in. It's been a few minutes. This is done dripping for the most part. Put in your drain bolt with the new crush washer. And same, it's always the same thing. Put it in by hand as far as you can, and then tighten it. This again is 9 foot-pounds, but this is my calibrated torque wrench right here in my hand. I say right about there. And then a little bit of brake cleaner. Clean off the rest. Make sure you oil your, this is your fill cap here. Take that O-ring and get a little oil. You could even just dip your finger in this old oil and just oil up that O-ring. Put that up here. That too has a torque spec. Let's see what it says. Everything's 9 foot-pounds. I'm gonna go again with the calibrated right there. And that's the rear diff. Now you just have to reinstall your skid plate. It's gonna go like so, and then put the bolts back in and tighten them up, and you're all done. Again, you don't have to take off the skid plate because this is the hole you need to work with, this one and this fill one. But for cleaning purposes, I like to take it off. Then it doesn't fill with oil and get gunked up. Onto the front differential. This one's a little easier. You have, you're going to need a 17mm for this bolt, this plug here. And then underneath, inside of there, 10mm. Get your 17mm in here. Make sure that this will crack loose here. And it is. I got it to crack before I take it all the way off. I'm going to spray it down. A little bit of brake cleaner. And just wipe off the area. Just to make sure. Okay, now that that's loose, take it off the rest of the way by hand. Then reach through the hole in the skid plate with your 10mm socket. Crack your drain loose. I like to just remove the socket once I crack it loose and spin it by hand. Make sure your pan's underneath there to catch it. And let it drain. Once it's done draining, same thing we did in the rear end, is just a couple pumps with the drain plug out, just to flush it. Once that's done draining, you could install your new crush washer on your drain bolt. Thread it in by hand, which I already did. You might need to use your socket or an extension to get it on there. This one's torqued to 9 foot-pounds too. So there's my 9 foot-pounds. And then we're gonna fill it. They want you to fill up to the bottom of these threads. That's the fill level. Oh, you don't want that to happen. Make sure you hold that and just pump it in. Fill it till it's at the bottom of these threads here. It's just at it. You can't really tell, but that's the proper fill level. Then you're gonna want to take your cap with your new O-ring on there, which I don't replace the O-ring because this one was in good condition. Oil it and put it back on. Tighten it to 9 foot-pounds. Make sure you don't cross-thread it. See, this thing's cross-threading right now. So, there. It's really easy to damage stuff like this if you aren't careful. There it goes. That's why I like doing tightening things by hand at first. $17mm. And 9 foot-pounds, which we've established I don't really do. There you go. And then spray it down with a little brake cleaner. Wipe it down, and you're all done with the front diff.